Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I just love how I said in my very first video back, the Michael Jackson Deserve Better video, that this was me making Michael Jackson content wasn't gonna be a reoccurring thing. Well, I guess I'm just a fat liar. But anyway, welcome back to another video. Today, it's just kind of like a chit chat type, me getting my thoughts out. That's just kind of what my channel's for, to be honest. At this point, my channel at this point is just like me to get my thoughts out, me doing this, me doing that. And the dangerous thing about doing Michael Jackson content back to back to back is that if I want to do something else, I feel like no one will be interested. But you know what? At this point, don't care. It's just what I want to get out at the moment because I got back into my hyperfixation on Michael doing that very first video. So today we're going to be talking about This Is It now and how bittersweet This Is It is, because it's a bittersweet topic and a bittersweet thing to really get into. Initially when you watch This Is It, you think everything, it's fine, it looks great, it's a beautiful film, which it is, we'll get into that, but there's also a really dark side to This Is It and to that whole world, how it came up, Michael's health during the rehearsals, how Michael felt during the rehearsals, and all of that. It's a huge thing to really get into. It's a whole rabbit hole. Now, I'm not going to go into depth about anything because, it's not a video essay, okay? It's just me yapping, just to yap. And I'm just going to talk about my opinion on why and how it's so bittersweet to surrounding This Is It, because this, like I said, This Is It is just it's a bittersweet. If I say masterpiece, is that glazing it too much? I don't know. I want to be a little dramatic at the same time. I don't know. There's good and there's some bad to it, so let's just kind of get into that. Now, I want to start off with the, would it make sense if I started off with the praises, and then go to the, I don't know. I'll just start off with the praises because that's just what it feels right to me. I want to glaze it a little bit, okay? I want to praise This Is It for a little bit, okay? So This Is It, if you don't know the film This Is It or what This Is It is, it is basically a comeback tour that Michael was going to venture off to in 2009. It was going to be his comeback tour. It was going to be the last tour, his final curtain call that he verbatim says, and that was going to be it. This tour was going to be his last and final one. He was going to retire. I don't know if he was going to retire completely. And once Michael passed away, they made a film. The estate collected all of the rehearsal footage and all of that, and what was gonna be a part of This Is It and all of that, into a film, like documentary, that kind of shows you what was gonna happen, what was gonna be shown, what was gonna be performed. Yeah, that's what This Is It is. And I do actually have the Blu-ray DVD. I own it. I do own it, and I watched This Is It probably a good, I can't tell you a number, but quite a bit of times. Okay, I've watched This Is It back then. I watched This Is It 5, 7, 6 years ago. I've watched it a little bit recently. I think I actually rewatched it this year, like early this year, I believe. And so I low-key want to rewatch it again, just because, I don't know, it's a very interesting film. It's very, to me, I love the film, okay? And what kind of, weirdly enough, what kind of inspired me to, kind of make this type of sit-down video is I was watching a Tom Mesereau interview. We stand Tom Mesereau in this household, thank you, from the MJ cast, and they asked about This Is It, and he said he loved the film, blah, 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 but he did notice, there's a few times where Michael wasn't in tip-top shape and things like that, and that made him, upset, but he did love the film. And so I was like, you know what, I agree with that, so I want to speak about it. I don't know, this is probably a hot take. Maybe it's not a hot take, because I feel like most fans love This Is It, but This Is It, I really do love the film. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat. I love This Is It. Okay, it makes me cry every fucking time. Bad. And so I love the film because I'm the type of person who really loves, and I've said this before, I really love the candidness. I love seeing behind the scenes. I love seeing the process of stuff. that stuff interests the hell out of me, and so especially when it comes to Michael, I eat it up. I eat it up because Michael is such a genius, and he is so like specific, and he is so like, he just has a specific way of doing things, you know what I mean? So to me, it's like, I love seeing that process. Who can fucking blame me, okay? Even though, according to Saida Garrett, she said that if Michael was alive, he wouldn't have allowed This Is It. And I definitely believe that, because she's like, well, because he's like a magician in that way, that he doesn't want to really share his process and things like that, which I do in that way, agree, and I believe her. But at the same time, I feel like Michael also loved, like, just based off some interviews when they actually ask about his music, which is kind of rare, but you know, when they actually talk about Michael's music and stuff like that, I feel like his eyes light up, and when they talk about, he doesn't get too into depth with this process, because, you know, kind of like what Saida says, is that like he kind of wants to keep that, you know, closed off, because, you know, he's in his own element when he works, okay? But I feel like he also loves to share, as well, you know what I mean? Because his eyes light up, he talks about it, and I really love that. I really love when he talks about his process, and I love when I see the process happening in real time. Not in real time, but you know what I mean. And This Is It is full of it. It is literally just rehearsal footage, and Michael in his element, and Michael, you know, directing people, telling people what he wants and what he, you know, what would look good, things like that, blah, 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 blah. I really love that. I love that. It interests the hell out of me, because yes, this is the final moments, you know, final couple months of his life and weeks of his life, but like, even at 50 years old, he's still popping and locking, he's still singing like he's always sung. He literally not changed one fucking bit. Like, you see him, like, he's absolutely, you know, devouring right now, and at 50 years old, that man was still going insane with it, and I appreciate that his work ethic never ceased, no matter how old he was. Like, he was always on top of it, he was always a perfectionist, he was always, thank you for that, he was always on top of it, he was always in his element, no matter what, and I really fucking love that, and I love seeing that process. And funny moments came from This Is It, a lot of just him as a person from This Is It, and like Tom Mesro explained, it was like, it showed how much of a nice and wonderful person he was, and I agree, like, Michael was so sweet in this. He was so sweet in this, even when he kind of raised his voice. He was still very fucking sweet. He was so sweet, he was so patient, he was so professional, and he was just him, okay? He's him. Michael Jackson is him, and it still is him posthumously, okay? Thank you. Yeah, that's why I love the film. That's my praises of it, is that, like, I feel like it was well done. It was really fun to watch, and it's really interesting to watch, especially if you like behind the scenes, and if you like rehearsals, and if you like stuff like that, like me. So yeah, those are my praises. I just fucking love it, just simply because it's a fun watch, it's an interesting watch. Hey, it's editing me here. So I kind of wanted to interject here, because after filming this video, not straight after I finished this video, filming it a few days later, well, as if we're doing this now, last night I ended up watching the This Is It Extras documentary, because it was in my watch later, and I was like, let me just watch it. I really enjoyed the documentary. It was only like 40 minutes long, but I really did enjoy the documentary. It really, wow, I have more input that I'm going to insert post filming that, because wow. First off, I want to praising This Is It again, I just want to fucking say that how crazy This Is It was going to be. Like, insane. I'll put the documentary in the description if you want to watch it, because it's worth the watch, honestly. It's cool as hell. Like, all of the planning for This Is It, all of like how the stages were going to be. All of it was so fucking cool because they only touched on it in the actual This Is It film, but they went more into depth with, you know, how things were gonna be in that extras documentary. The 3D screens, dude, like, hello, the 3D LED screens, so the audience was gonna have like a 3D experience. And then obviously they touched on it in Thriller, they touched on it in the This Is It film, but like I guess the 4D Thriller 3D 4D Thriller experience, where they have these skeleton ghosts, they were gonna go over the audience and like the 3D. It was gonna be so fucking cool, okay? And like the stage props and all of that. His exit, how he was going to end the show was by, again, using 3D technology. It was called MJ Air, right? It was like this big ass plane, and it was gonna look like it was flying over the people. The arena was going to shake. Are y'all hearing what I'm like saying? It was going to rumble and shake as if there's an actual airplane. I don't know how the fuck they were gonna do that, but bitch, they were gonna make it happen. And so it was kind of like, ooh, look, and then it's like kind of give you the illusion that an airplane is going to pick up Michael, is going to pick up his crew, and so basically that's what happened. Like they tried their best to make it look real, and so they even had like the airplane stairs, and then his crew was gonna go in there, and then Michael was gonna go in there, wave goodbye, and then it was gonna leave. Like, oh my god, and there's so much more cool shit. And yeah, Smooth Criminal, oh my god, the Smooth Criminal thing really had me in for a loop, okay? Had me in for a loop, because basically, if y'all watch This Is It film, you know that Michael, they did a, you know, kind of like a mobster or like gangster, you know, having them chase Michael and things like that, right? With green screens and shit like that. When Michael is going, because they didn't touch on this in the film, so that's why this really got to me with this extras documentary, okay? He jumps out of the window, okay? It cuts to the actual stage. Michael was going to, like, come out on stage as if he fell on stage. I don't know how to explain it, but he basically falls into the stage, and then he has, like, this Tommy gun or whatever, like in Smooth Criminal, the film, and he goes, like, he shoots, and then the Smooth Criminal, when they shoot Smooth Criminal into the lights, I don't know, I'll probably have B-roll of the clips of what I'm talking about, so I'm actually making sense. But bitch, it literally looks so fucking cool. It looks so fucking cool. It looks so cool. This Is It was going to be the tour of the century, bitch. Girl. It was going to be that hoe. It was going to be that bitch, okay? This Is It was going to be one of the best tours and shows literally fucking ever. No fucking joke. Because that shit, and for 2009 too, all this 3D, all these effects, all these props, all this illusion, and Michael's big on optical illusions and magicians and shit like that. He was into that shit, right? It was, again, I'll link the documentary in the description because, dude, it's a must watch if you want to look. Again, like I explained in the video already, in the original video, is that This Is It, the film touches on, gives you an inside look of what was going down during the rehearsals, like how Michael's process was, how it was going to be, you know, the song, all of it. But this documentary, this like extras documentary, really went more okay? Really went more into depth with it and tells you even more about it. And I think it was so fucking cool. It was so cool. So that's the sweet part. Okay, that is the sweet part of the bittersweet. Okay, now we're gonna get to the bitterness of This Is It. The bitterness starts off that Michael, towards the end of his life, you know, especially after the trial and things like that, he moved to Bahrain in the Middle East. He moved to Ireland for a little bit, and he was broke. Okay, he was in debt. He wasn't, you know, financially stable towards the end of his life, okay? And I did mention this in my last video. If you want to get deeper and deeper and deeper into the This Is It rabbit hole, watch Hannah Savage's documentary series on it. That is more in depth and you'll understand a lot more. So that's why I'm just touching on it, and you can go do her videos and watch those. He had to come back to America, things like that, because stuff with I don't know, the guy, I forgot, I don't know, but it's just some guy that Michael was living with in Bahrain. You know, the guy from Bahrain was kind of, in a way, kind of housing Michael, keeping him there and things like that. And eventually he was like, I don't know how much longer I can, you know, do this. But yeah, that's kind of like the root of how This Is It came to be, because eventually they were like, you gotta do something, you gotta generate some fucking sort of income, Michael, okay? You are broke, you owe this much money to Sony, you owe this, that, and the other. From the movie Searching for Neverland, and in the book Remember the Time and stuff, Ramon Bain, which we do not like her, but that's neither here nor there. Ramon Bain will constantly be like, hey, do a show or do something, like blah blah blah, and he'd be like, no, because he just wanted to settle the fuck down, and who can blame him, okay? You are late 40s, you're almost fucking 50, you want to settle the fuck down with your kids, you don't want to perform, you don't want to do any of that, blah, 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 because, girl. And especially, like, he would explain, he's like, I'm not just some fucking Vegas act, I can't just sit on a fucking stool and sing, okay? Like, people want me to dance beginning, middle, and end, dude. Like, people are expecting a lot from me, and that's very true. People expect a lot because you're Michael fucking Jackson. Like, you sing, you dance, you all of that. And throughout his entire time touring, you know, other tours, that's what he would do. He would sing and dance throughout the entire fucking thing. So why else would anyone expect different for this tour? And at that point, he's getting older. Even though he can still pop and lock, like, he is getting older. Like, he's in pain. He has a lot of chronic pain. His back, his scalp. Like, he is just not, he's like, I can't be doing this. Like, I genuinely cannot. It will literally kill me. It will kill me, he says. Like, for real. Initially, they were like, okay, 50 shows. And he was like, fuck no, what is wrong with you? And they were like, okay, 30, I think. I don't know. But eventually they lowered it to 10 shows. And so he was like, okay, that's doable, we'll do 10 shows. So Michael agrees to do This Is It, and whatever. Initially being like, oh, okay, well, 10 shows isn't that bad, okay? Like, that's a short tour, you know, it's enough to please my fans. And so he announces the tour, everything's fun, everything's fine, and then, of course, like, Michael was initially kind of nervous to, go on tour because he didn't know, he was scared that his reputation was tarnished to hell, even though, you know, it was to some people, but of course he still had us, he still had his fans, and why wouldn't we go to This Is It? Hello, thank you. He was very pleased to know that that shit sold out so fucking fast. Sneakily, Michael's people was like, okay, how about we up it to like 20 to 30 shows? Because look, Michael, like, literally it's being sold out. Like, come on, Mike, like, look at this, come on. And he was like, sure, I guess. And then once they added more shows, those got sold out. Then they were like, Michael, look, how about we raise it up to 50 once again? And that's how it ended up, just at the end of the day, how they initially offered it to him. Which, You suck! Y'all suck so fucking bad. Y'all suck. Y'all suck. Y'all suck. Y'all suck. And y'all are over here being like, yeah, he can still pop and lock a little bit. We're only gonna do 50 shows. We're gonna do 50 fucking shows, even though he said initially he didn't want to do 50 shows. But look at all the sales. Look at all the people generate. Look at all the fans. I feel like 10 shows would have been doable. Maybe he would have gone through it. Honestly, people say that like him touring would have probably just killed him anyway. And I agree. I agree. He even said himself from the very fucking get-go, if I were to do something like this, I would not survive. Like, I will be, like, it doesn't help that during this time he wasn't getting enough sleep, he was tired, he would be showing up late, he would, he wouldn't be coherent, like he would just not be himself. He was very skinny, he was not healthy. Michael was just not in his mode. Even on the film, he was fucking shit up, like he was going insane with it, okay? He was going as insane as he possibly could. Meanwhile, he was either high that day from painkillers, or he was in pain, or this, that, and the other. Like, it's painful. It really is painful. So he did a really good job in some cases to mask that, and not really show that, because, he had to stay professional. He's like, okay, I have an obligation. I have to rehearse for this show. I can't lack. I can't slack. Especially the perfectionist in him. He's like, I can't lack. I have to do this. Like, no. Like the workaholic in him, the perfectionist in him, the work ethic in him would not allow him to lack. And so it's very sad to see. It is very sad to see. Sorry. Too distracted by Michael. Being goofy as hell. It's very sad. It's very, very sad to see. Very sad to see. And it makes me upset that his people didn't give a fuck. They clearly didn't give a fuck about his well-being. They clearly didn't give a fuck about what he was doing. Like, they were just like, money, money, money. You need that money, Michael. Even though most of that money would go to fucking Sony anyway for his debt. And so that was another thing. It's like, oh, well, you generated this amount of money, but it's not enough, so up the dates. That's insane. That is insane to me. That's insane. That's just wild to me. And in the documentary, they say that Michael is very excited to do it, and I don't doubt that for a second. I don't doubt it, but there's also other things. I feel like two things can be true at once. Like, on one hand, again, Michael loved the stage. He loved performing. He loved his fans. So, of course, he was going to be excited to go out on tour again because, at the end of the day, again, Michael loved performing. And he also wanted to show his kids. He wanted to show his kids, hey, they're old enough to appreciate and see what I do. And he was really excited about that. He was really, 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 really looking forward to showing his kids his performance and his performer side, because they hadn't really seen that side of him, really. But at the same time, again, like I also explained, like, I guess in the bitter portion, I don't know why I quote, but in the bitter portion of this video, that, he also wasn't feeling great, he wasn't getting enough sleep, it was, again, both things can be true at the same time, that he initially didn't want to do This Is It or do a tour period, because again, like, he's already struggling, and he's already not really feeling like doing these types of things anymore. So I think two things can be true at the same time. So I'm not gonna doubt those people in the documentary that he was excited, because I think he genuinely was excited, because if you see him in This Is It and things like that, he seemed to be having a really good time, just being in that creative process again after a long time, even though I'm sure he's written songs and things like that for a while, even after this trial, even, I'm sure that never really stopped. But yeah, so again, I want to emphasize and reiterate. I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't know how to say that word. My fault. Yeah, I think two things can be the same, like be true at the same time. And they also mentioned raising up the date, like the dates, how many days they were gonna do, how many shows they were gonna do, the show days. And so they did mention that in the extras documentary. And they in the documentary they're like, okay, Michael, look at all this, like literally, like we sold out in like an hour, blah blah blah, blah. Let's raise up the shows. And they said that Michael said he will do it under two conditions.
Great, Mike, congratulations. We need to add some shows. He said, okay, I have two conditions. He said, one, I want a house in the country so that the kids and I are not trapped in a hotel suite. I said, fine. I said, what's the other condition? He said that when I do the 50th show, the Guinness Book of World Records are there to memorialize it. And I said, that's it? He said, done. I said, we got a deal.
And again, that could have happened. That straight up could have happened. But again, that doesn't really dissolve or really take away from what happened during This Is It, before This Is It leading up to This Is It, and things like that, because there's still a lot of darkness. And again, keep in mind, I still have not finished part 2 of Hannah Savage's docu-series. I only finished part 1, but I'm a huge procrastinator, so I haven't been able to finish the second part. But so I don't know, I feel like I don't know everything yet, so keep that in mind too. Because for all we know, she could mention what I just said about the conditions and things like that, so I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of all I really have to update you guys on with this video, because, again, since this video isn't out yet, so I wanted to, well, I mean, it's out now, you're watching it, but, as of when I'm recording this right now, it's not out yet or anything, so, I just kind of wanted to put my input and update you guys on my additional thoughts, because I had watched that extras documentary, and you know, it was very cool. But so yeah, anyways, I'll let you guys get back to the OG video. But yeah, so that's the bitterness of everything, is that Michael was just not in his right state of mind. He wasn't healthy, he wasn't getting enough sleep, he was using propofol to get sleep even though you weren't actually getting sleep. Like, it's sad. It's sad. The story behind This Is It is dark. It's sad. It puts a bad taste in my mouth, which makes me feel guilty for genuinely loving the film. It makes me guilty because I know this information. Back then, I didn't know this information. I was like, this is it. Yeah, like, you know, innocently watching This Is It. But now that I know this, now that I know what happened, what led up to This Is It, how he was during This Is It, it makes me guilty a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, it makes me a little guilty. But at the same time, I don't want to feel that bad, because I genuinely love the film, and I don't want the film to be too tarnished for me forever. And I'm sure Michael had his good moments on stage. I'm sure some of it wasn't too bad. I'm sure there was some fun times he had on stage, because at the end of it, he loves the stage, So hopefully it wasn't too miserable for him. Because to me, it looked like he had fun in some areas. He looked like he had a good time, even though he wasn't feeling his best. But yeah, that's my take. That's my thing on This Is It, how it's bittersweet. Leave in the comments below or whatever to let me know your opinion on This Is It and what you think about This Is It, and if you agree or disagree with me, anything like that. Because it is a bittersweet masterpiece. Because I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.